I love crochet. You love crochet. But we both know that sometimes it can get a little overwhelming. There are so many beautiful projects to make in so little time. How is it even possible to fit so much in a measly 24-hour period? Well, today I'm going to show you how. And we're going to start by taking it one step at a time. We all have the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the only thing that's fair. Life will always get busy, so we have to make time for the things that we love. And if you don't have time, then it's not a priority. But making it a priority alone isn't going to fix our time problem. So now let's talk about what we're going to learn in this video. By the title, you probably already know the general idea. But my goal in today's video is to help you get organized and plan a whole year's worth of crochet projects, all while never missing a deadline. First, we'll get started with the organizing phase, where we'll brainstorm all of the ideas we have and the patterns that we want to make. Then we'll start planning. And while we're in the planning stage, I'm going to share my super secret formula that will help you take all of the information that we've written down and figure out the exact date you need to start in order to not miss a deadline. But we'll talk more about that later. So make sure you stick around so I can show you how to use it. Now, to get the most out of this training, you'll want to download a copy of the Plan Your Crochet Projects Like a Pro workbook that I created just for you. It's completely free, but you do have to sign up with your email so that I can send it directly to you. So if you haven't done that yet, pause the video and follow the link in the description to get your workbook. After signing up, you'll receive the workbook in your email within the next few minutes. You then have the option to either print the workbook or you can download it straight to your tablet, which is what I prefer. But if you are going to print your workbook, make sure you print multiple pages of the page that reads, "Let's do the math." But again, we'll talk more about that later. If you choose not to download this workbook, you can follow along with a pen and paper. But just know that inside the workbook, I've already included the entire secret formula so that you can just plug in your numbers. So it's 10 times easier to just download the workbook and follow along with me. Not only will this help you not miss a deadline, but it will also help you prioritize your projects. When you're using this formula, you'll want to make sure that you take it one project at a time. I know that we all have squirrel syndrome sometimes, but if you're wanting to make something for someone before a specific date, this formula will help you figure out when to start that project and to only work on that project so you can get it finished in time. So I'm going to use my tablet today because I use it for everything. And I like to open mine with GoodNotes. GoodNotes is a paid app, but I'm sure you can do the same thing with a free app. And if not, you can always print yours out. So here we have the workbook. First, we're going to start with the brain dump. For part 1 of our brain dump, we're going to start with January and end with December, making a list of some major events you think you'd want to make items for. Think birthdays, holidays, baby showers, weddings, or any other celebration. Even if there are some items that you're just wanting to make for yourself, this is where you will list them. And this page is more to get an idea of the things that you want to make throughout the year, and it doesn't have to be specific. That's why it's a brain dump. We're just getting all of the patterns and the ideas out of our brain and onto paper. I've already filled this page out. I have my cousin Corinne who's about to have a baby. I want to make a granny square blanket, a cardigan, a dress, sweater, socks. These are all things that I want to make for myself and not necessarily for other people. And then I have my friend's son's blanket, and then my husband wants a Pokemon. So these are all my ideas. If you are following along with me, go ahead and pause the video and fill this page out. And then we'll move on to the next page. Now this is our second brain dump, and this is where we're still brainstorming, but this time we're going to be more specific. So we're going to go in and specifically talk about who you're making this project for, what event this is for, and any pattern ideas that you have for this project. So let's say your friend or your cousin, like me, is having a baby. If you're wanting to make a baby blanket, then you can search Pinterest or your favorite designers and figure out which kinds of patterns you might want to make. You can list a few pattern ideas here if you're not sure of what exactly you want to make, or you can just list the one pattern that you already know you're going to make. And if you already know all of the patterns that you want to make this year, you can jump over to the next section. So here I put my cousin Corinne, and the event is a baby shower, and I'd like to make her a baby blanket, but specifically I'd like to make her a Harry Potter baby blanket. And then again, my husband would like a Gengar Pokemon because he's the best. I wanted to make my best friend a baby blanket, and I know that his nursery is space themed, so I'm going with a spaceship blanket. And I already know that that blanket pattern is on Your Inspirations. So on the last page, we were brainstorming different kinds of projects. And here we want to try to be more specific. You can list a few now if you're not 100% sure of what you want to make, but in the end, we're going to have to get even more specific by choosing one pattern, because that's going to help you stay organized and plan more effectively. So if you haven't already, pause the video and fill out Brain Dump Part 2. And when you're ready, we'll move on to the next worksheet. Now that we have a few projects that we want to work on, it's time to put it all together and get everything organized in one place. Now it's time to assign the due dates. Think about when you want the recipient to receive the item, and you'll want to consider the date of the event and also if the item needs to be shipped, so we'll add extra time for that. I already filled all of this out for myself. So first we have my cousin Karen. The event, again, is a baby shower, and for the pattern I wrote the snitch blanket that's a part of the Harry Potter book. So on the previous workbook, I said I wanted to do a blanket from the Harry Potter crochet book, but now I'm being more specific and saying that I want to make this snitch blanket. The due date is April. I'm not exactly sure what her actual due date is, but I know it's in April, so I want to make sure that I get it to her by April 1st. So that's what I'm putting there. And then I'm going to write down all the supplies that I need, again, so we have everything in one place. And of course, I have my husband's and Heather's down here as well. So go ahead and pause the video and fill out this page, and then we'll move on to the next worksheet. And also, don't feel like you have to do this all at once. This is why I really encourage you to sign up to receive this workbook, because you'll always have it, and if you don't have time to complete the whole thing now, you can always come back later. Now, moving on to the next worksheet, this is where it starts to get a little fun. It's now time to crochet, or at least figure out how much time you have to crochet each day. If you already know how much time you have to crochet each day, write that number under each day of the week. If you're not sure, write down all of your recurring weekly tasks like school, work, or other activities, and write down how long each activity takes. Then add up the time and subtract it by 24 to get your total time per day. And you might have more time than you realized. So I'll go ahead and show you what I've done here. I had a general idea of how much time I had to crochet every day, but I wanted to write it down and kind of see where my head was at. So you can see here that this is a typical weekday. I listed out all of the things I normally do when I'm at home, so I could find the time that I have to crochet. And typically I crochet from 6 to 7 whenever we're hanging out in front of the TV. And I also crochet after the kids' bedtime routine and I'm ready to relax and watch movies or TV shows with my husband. So I have about 2.5 hours of crochet time per day. So I wrote down 2.5 hours for each day of the week, and then I added an extra hour for Friday and an extra couple of hours for Saturday and Sunday. So after you have all of your times written out, you'll add them all together and you'll put your total crochet time per week here at the bottom. So when I added all this up, I have 23.5 hours a week to crochet, which sounds insane. So that's what I meant when I said you might be surprised by how much time you have. Now, because there are 7 days in a week, we're going to divide 23.5 by 7, and we get 3.36 hours. So I'm going to round that down in case there's some time that I don't have to crochet. So we'll just cross this out and put 3 hours. And you'll need this for the next page. So again, pause the video and fill out this page. And in the comments, let me know how much time do you have to crochet per week. And now it's time for the fun part, because most people don't find math fun, but because I already have this special formula all written out for you, all you have to do is plug in the numbers, and it's so much fun to see it all come together. So this page is going to be for one project. So you'll want to make sure that you either make copies of this page or print out multiple pages, or you can just use a pencil and erase it for each project. So again, I've already filled this out, but I'm going to fill this out with you so that you see how to actually plug in the numbers. Okay. So again, we're going to take Corinne's baby blanket as an example. So first you put for who? Corinne. Pattern, the snitch blanket. The type of pattern is a baby blanket. The due date is going to be April 1st. Your average crochet time per day, and that's going to be what we came up with on the last page. So it's 3 hours. So we'll put 3 hours here. And then hours it will take to make. So this depends on you and how fast you crochet. But if you flip to the next page, I have estimated project times here. The amount of time it takes to complete a project varies from person to person. But this is a list of estimated times that it could take for someone to crochet each of these items. However, I do encourage you to time yourself making each of these types of projects so that your calculations are more accurate. So, because I'm going to be working on a baby blanket, our estimated time is 20 hours. So because we have 20 hours as our estimated time, I'm going to put 20 hours. Now that we have all of our numbers together, we're going to plug in the formula down here. I've color-coded these so that they match. This is your average crochet time per day, so this is what we need here. So you put 3. How many days a week? 7. So 3 times 7 is 21. That's our average crochet time per week. Now, hours it will take to make. We have that right here because again, those colors are matching. So we're going to put 20 because it's going to take about 20 hours. And then the crochet time per week, we have 21. So we're just putting that right here. And then we'll do 20 divided by 21. And obviously I don't know that number in my head. So we'll do 20 divided by 21 is 0.95. So that means it takes almost a week to make. So we'll round up to 1. Now we have the project due date. Here it's not matching the color, but I did update this workbook so that it's matching. So here is your due date. So you'll just put April 1st here at the bottom, minus how many weeks it will take to make. So when we round it up, it takes about a week to make, but I'm going to add an extra week just in case I'm super busy and I didn't actually have as much time to crochet as I thought. And then that will also give me time to get the supplies if I don't already have them. So I'll go ahead and put 2 weeks. So now you'll go into your calendar and find April 1st, which is right here, and we'll go back 2 weeks. So we have 1, 2. That gives us March 18th. So we'll put March 18th. And there you go. So as long as you start this pattern by March 18th and you only focus on this one pattern during the time that you have to crochet, you will absolutely make it in time for your due date. You can also give yourself extra time if you think you need it. Dun, 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 dun. And that's it for the full workbook. Again, you'll want to do this for each project that you have. And of course, if you start sooner, that's great. But just remember that if you want to make sure that your project gets done on time, then it's best to really focus on one project at a time. Let me know what you think about this super secret formula. And once you test it out, come back and let me know if it worked for you. I also forgot to mention that here I have the estimated project times for different types of projects. But down here, it says more accurate times. And this is where you'll input how long it takes you specifically to make these kinds of projects. And if you want to know how long it takes you to make a certain project, I'm going to be creating a bonus video to teach you how exactly to do that. So, how was it? Let me know in the comments what you think about planning out your projects. Is this something that you're gonna try? I hope you enjoyed today's video training and that it helps you to plan out your projects and stay organized so that you never miss a deadline. If you're looking to further stay organized, I just updated my printable crochet project planner. It's called Hooked on Planning, and I would love for you to check it out. Next week, I'm going to show you the planner and teach you how to set up your own DIY crochet project planner. If the video is already out, I'll leave it in the description. But if you're watching this as soon as this video came out, then make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications so you don't miss that video. I'll see you in the next one.